Jono to this video, and today I'm going to be unboxing, testing and reviewing the latest machine from a company called Mustang. This is their brand new tattoo machine. It's called the Vader tattoo pen. Now Mustang contacted me and asked me if I'd like to try out their brand new machine. They're obviously really proud of it. I've used this machine for the last 2 weeks, so I feel now I can give like a really good review on it, a genuine review on it. I've got some snippets throughout this video. I'll be lining with this machine, I'll be colour packing with it, I'll be shading with it, and I'll also give my thoughts on it. So let's not waste any more time, guys, and get straight into the review. So here it is, guys, the Vader tattoo pen from mustangtattoo.com. So this is how you get it, straight out the box. Let's have a look at the machine. So here we go. Now this machine, it's an RCA connector. It weighs 140 grams, which is the same weight as a Cheyenne pen. So if you're used to using one of these, this is the same weight as that. It's made from aircraft aluminium. It's 135 millimeters long, and the grip, the thinnest part of the grip, it's 25 mil, and the widest part is 30 mil. So the thinnest part there, if you're used to using a Cheyenne pen, this thinnest part is the same thickness as this. I personally think it's a lot comfier to use than the Cheyenne pen, just because of the shape of it. It's not just a solid barrel, so it feels really nice to use. It has a maximum needle stroke of 3.5 mil, which again is the same as the Cheyenne pen, sorry, and it runs between 6 and 9 volts. Now straight away from taking this out of the box, I've been using it for about 2 weeks. What I did notice, which I really like, is when you adjust the grip to adjust your needle length, it doesn't just screw down and screw out, it clicks. And I like that feeling to it. It feels really well built. It's already, just out of the box, just trying that, it feels like there's been a lot of time invested into this, and it feels like a quality machine. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but you can hear that. It just feels more precise when you're setting your needle depth. Now, what I really like about this machine, and for me what sets it apart from the likes of the Cheyenne pen, is these guys that, you know, they're made, it's not a dedicated liner, it's not a dedicated shader, it sort of meets in the middle, and it does a good job at both of those things. Where this can be made into a dedicated liner or a dedicated shader with very little messing about. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So with the machine comes these 2 push rods, and we've got one there for shading and one there for lining. And it's really simple to swap this machine between the two. So what you do is you take the grip off, and inside there's like this little hole. Oh, the camera's picking that up. And the thin side first, just put that in, put the grip on, and this machine is now a dedicated liner. And believe me when I say this, guys, this machine really packs a punch and is absolutely amazing at lining. And I will go to examples of this towards the end of this video, and you'll see it in action. But I was quite surprised with it, to be honest, just how well it does line. And again, when I want to switch over to shading, it's just a matter of taking this off, taking that out, and then we use this one, thin side in again, and there's your dedicated shader. And it really is as quick and as simple as that, and it does make a massive difference. And again, for shading, once you've got this the shader push rod in, it's like a completely different machine again, and it shades really well. Now, when I found out this machine ran between 6 and 9 volts, I was slightly concerned, because I usually run my machines higher than this, and the fact that I couldn't run it past 9 volts, I was concerned that it wasn't going to be punchy enough, it wasn't going to be, like, you know, powerful enough for pulling the lines, and I was completely wrong about that. When this machine runs at 9 volts, it really massively packs a punch. And then I crank it down to about 7 volts, 7.5 volts, and you just get those smooth shades in there. Now, I've tested machines before. I've come across machines from, you know, quite high-end companies, and one of the first things that I always test on a machine is to see if they've included the thing where when you take your foot off the pedal, the needle automatically retracts. Because I think, you know, when you pay in quite a lot of money for these machines, and I think it's one thing that every tattoo manufacturer should put into their machines, and when they don't, I always see it as quite a lazy thing. And as soon as I find out a machine doesn't automatically retract, I start losing a lot of faith in it, because I think, you know, is this just been thrown together in a factory in China or something like that? And I'm really pleased to say I did test this, and I'll show you it right now. But the first thing I did try with this is to see if the needle automatically retracts, and it does, and it retracts every single time. So I'm just going to hook a cartridge up to it now. This machine takes a wide variety of cartridges. All the cartridges I use, I've had no problems with it whatsoever. So this is a Da Vinci cartridge. And then that's good to go. And then you can set your depth just like you would with most pens. You know, you turn this down. And then to retract it, hopefully turn it anti-clockwise. You can see it retracting there. So I'm just going to hook the RCA up to it. So this is set to 9 volts. Just turn it down to what I'd use it for shading. And that's 7.5 volts, what it's running at now. And when I turn the foot pedal off, it retracts every single time. I really like that feature. So we're going to cut to a video now of me lining with the machine, then I'm going to be colour packing with it, then shading with it, and then finishing off with some white highlights, and I give some commentary and my thoughts through the video. So here we are, guys. I'm using a 7-round liner 00 for this, and you can see the lines, it's just pulling lines effortlessly. This is with the liner push rod in, so it's made the machine a dedicated liner, as I've just spoke about. And you can see the lines going effortlessly, just one pass lines. There's no messing about, there's no nonsense with them. They just go in nice and strong, nice and bold. There's no ink splatter anywhere. Just pulling around the side of that. I think it's a flower on the skull there. And they're just effortless. Nice, strong lines, nice and clean. Machine just super comfy to hold as well. And we're going to a really close up there, so you can see it just punching in those lines. That's just running at 9 volts. And then we're going to go on to some colour packing in a moment. Just pulling this last line here. And again, this machine is just super comfy to hold, super comfy to use, and effortless. So that's about all the lining done now. And we'll just wipe them off. You can see that's just one pass on those lines. Nice and solid, nice and bold. And then we're going to move over to some packing. I'm just going to pack some black into the eye of this skull. And I would have dropped the machine down to 7.5 volts for this. For this I'm using a 11 round mag, a 001. And you can see that I just packed that bit of black in, nice and solid, nice and vibrant. And the machine is just not straining at all. It's running at 7.5 volts and it's just throwing that black in. Absolute pleasure to use this machine. Just taking that black up to that line there. See, no patchiness at all. We moved on to shading now. This again is being used, it's being run at 7.5 volts. And I'm using a grey wash on this. And you can see just how smooth that comes out. And I've chose this area to video so you can see the contrast of the solid black above it in contrast to the shade below it, just so you can see the difference there. And you can see how smooth that shade just feathers off. And the machine, it's not even trying, you know, it's happily, it sits there all day just putting those super smooth shades in. And again, shading, I'm back shading with this one now, just using a silverback grey wash, I think from the 666 series to do this. The ink is dynamic black. There's hardly, very little trauma on the skin there. You can see it's just, look how smooth these shades are. They're just absolute pleasure to use this machine. In a moment I'll come down onto where there's no lines and no stencil, just so you can see the machine putting really light shades in the skin, because I want to show you everything that the machine does and give you like different examples, which is why I'm not just showing you this tattoo from start to finish, because it's about just taking little snippets of the tattoo, dancing around on it a bit, just showing you what the machine's capable of. See, on this part here I'm just shading off from the line that's in. And in a moment we'll be coming down towards the nose of the skull, and we'll just be shading off on like a blank piece of skin, just so you can see. So we'll come down now, and I think I'm using like a 666 silverback grey wash for this. And you can see that shade just nice and gently building up on the skin. There's no trauma there, there's no blood coming out of the skin, you know, the machine's not, you know, it's not jackhammering it in. Just super soft shades. And like I've said, this is with the shading push rod in it, and it makes such a difference. Now I've changed this to a dedicated shader, and you can see the contrast between those hard lines that have been punched in where it's been used as a liner, and then just switched over to a dedicated shader, and you can see the difference there. So it's basically two machines in one, if you like. And then finally some white highlights just to finish the tattoo off. For anyone that wants to know what ink I'm using there, it's I believe it's Mario Barth's Portrait White, I think it's called, from Intense. You can see it's just punching in those highlights, absolutely no problems at all. And I think I'm getting towards the end of the tattoo here, just scrubbing in some white there. And then I'll show you it wiped off. And again, this machine completed the entire of this tattoo, all of it, from start to finish, with no problems, no issues whatsoever. Just an absolute pleasure to use. So just applied some Pro Series tattoo glue foam there from the company Tattoo Go, and just giving that a little wipe off. There's the tattoo, completely done start to finish with the Vader tattoo pen. I'll just show you a little picture of it there where it's completed. Absolutely no problems at all using this pen. So there you have it, guys. This is the Vader tattoo machine from Mustang. Check them out, mustangtattoo.com. Put the link on the screen there for you. My final thoughts on this machine are, this machine easily stands up to any of the high-end companies, the Cheyenne. Price wise, this on the website is currently at $475. The thing that I like most about this machine, which I think sets it apart from a lot of others, is the fact that you can switch between to make it a dedicated liner or a dedicated shader, and the fact that, I know some other machines do that as well, but the fact that it is so easy to do as well. You saw me at the beginning of the video just switching between the two, and I think this is going to give this company a really good edge. If I'm being really honest, since I've used this machine for the last 2 weeks, I've not put it down, and I've carried on using it. So credit to Mustang for that. You've made an excellent machine. So yeah, that's my review on it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've liked this video, don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, stay up to date on my latest videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers, guys.